What if the fire inside your arteries isn't being started by the steak you ate for dinner, or even the cholesterol number on your lab report? What if the arsonist is actually a microscopic poison leaking out of your own gut? For decades, we've been told that heart disease is essentially a plumbing problem, a simple case of clogged pipes caused by too much grease. But the latest science tells a much more alarming story. The real danger isn't just fat. It is an immunological siege happening inside your blood vessels right now. This condition has a specific medical name: metabolic endotoxemia. It's a state where your bloodstream is flooded with bacterial toxins that slowly corrode your vascular system from the inside out. And the scariest part? Your body is likely screaming at you that this is happening, and you're probably ignoring the signal because you think it's just part of getting older. I want you to pay close attention to how you feel 30 to 60 minutes after you eat lunch today. If you feel a heavy, toxic fog roll over your brain, that overwhelming, sluggish desire to just close your eyes and sleep, I need you to listen very carefully. That is not normal digestion. That is not just a food coma. That is a biological air raid siren. When that fog hits, it's not because your stomach is working hard. It is because your immune system has just launched a massive, energy-draining war against toxins that have breached your defenses and entered your blood. Every time you crash after a meal, your arteries are taking a hit. If you ignore this signal, you aren't just tired, you are letting inflammation destabilize the plaque in your heart. But today, we are going to stop treating the symptom, and we are going to finally fix the leak. To understand what is physically happening inside you, you have to stop looking at your heart for a moment and look at the single most important barrier in your body, your gut lining. I want you to visualize your gut lining not as a tube, but as a heavily guarded border fence. This fence is constructed of millions of cells tied together by microscopic, tightly woven ropes. In the medical world, we call these ropes tight junctions, made of proteins like ZO1 and occludin. When you are healthy, these ropes are knotted tight. They let the good stuff, like nutrients, pass through the gates, but they block the dangerous stuff from entering your bloodstream. But here is where the villain enters the story. Because of the modern Western diet, low in fiber, high in sugar, and full of processed chemicals, those ropes start to fray. Eventually they snap. The fence develops gaping holes. This is what we call leaky gut. And once that fence is breached, the enemy invades. The enemy is a toxin called lipopolysaccharide, or LPs. I want you to picture LPs as spiky, microscopic red balls that live on the surface of bad bacteria like E. coli. As long as they stay inside the gut, they are harmless. But when your tight junctions break, these spiky red balls flood through the holes and pour directly into your blood. They travel from the border all the way to your body's capital city, your heart. This is the moment the damage is done. Your immune system sees these toxins and panics. It launches a massive inflammatory response to kill them. But because the toxins are flowing through your arteries, the battle happens inside your artery walls. So, while you might think you just have high cholesterol, the reality is much more volatile. Visualize your artery walls. Instead of being smooth and flexible, they turn red, swollen, and angry. If you have plaque buildup, this inflammation turns that plaque from a stable rock into a pulsing, unstable abscess that is ready to burst. That bursting is what causes a heart attack. This completely changes how we fix the problem. Traditional medicine often treats heart disease like a clogged drain. We use drugs like statins essentially as biological Drano to clear the pipe. But Drano doesn't work if the house is on fire. You cannot fix the heart by just clearing the pipe if the arsonist is still pouring gasoline through the back door. You have to go back to the source. You have to stop the leak. We don't need Drano, we need a welder. We need to restitch those frayed ropes and seal the border fence so the toxins can never get in again. So, what is the blueprint? The guiding principle here is simple. Heal the barrier first. You cannot fix the heart if the gut is still leaking poison. We are going to seal the breach using 3 specific biological tools. Step 1 is your sealing protocol. You don't need expensive supplements for this. You need raw, unpasteurized sauerkraut. We are talking about just 1 tablespoon a day with your dinner. Why sauerkraut? Because it contains a specific strain of bacteria called Lactobacillus plantarum. Remember those frayed ropes we talked about? The tight junctions that hold your gut cells together? L. plantarum acts exactly like a microscopic repair crew. In lab studies, this specific bacteria has been shown to physically increase the tightness of the gut barrier by over 50%. When you eat this, you are effectively sending in a team of welders to re-stitch those frayed ropes until the fence is solid again. The toxins bounce off the wall instead of leaking through. Step 2 is the Trojan horse defense. We need to stop the toxins that'll get in from hitching a ride into your system. This involves a strategic swap. Trade your corn or canola oil for MCT oil. Here is the mechanics of why this works. Standard vegetable oils are made of long-chain fats. To get into your blood, these fats require a large transport vehicle called a chylomicron. Think of the chylomicron as a city bus. The problem is, the LPS toxins love to sneak onto this bus. When you eat corn oil, you are sending a fleet of buses to the border, picking up the toxins and driving them straight to your heart. MCT oil is different. It stands for medium-chain triglyceride. It doesn't need the bus. It bypasses that entire transport system and goes straight to the liver to be burned for energy. Think of MCTs like a sleek motorcycle that zooms past the bus stop. By swapping the oil, you leave the toxins stranded at the border with no ride into your bloodstream. Step 3 is applying the chemical handcuffs. Those fermented compounds in the sauerkraut don't just fix the gut, they release bioactive peptides that act as natural ACE inhibitors. In a petri dish, these have shown an efficacy of nearly 85%. What does that mean for you? An ACE inhibitor stops your blood vessels from squeezing tight. Instead of your arteries being stiff and constricted, which drives up blood pressure, these peptides help them relax. Visualize your blood vessels widening, allowing blood to flow calmly like a wide river rather than blasting through a fire hose. Now, a critical note on execution. You cannot buy this medicine in the canned food aisle. If the sauerkraut is on a shelf at room temperature, it has been pasteurized, heated to death. It is useless. You must go to the refrigerated section. Look at the label. It should say 2 things, cabbage and salt. If you see vinegar, put it back. Vinegar mimics the sour taste of fermentation without the actual bacteria. You need the live cultures to weld that fence. Before we wrap up, I need to dismantle one final, dangerous myth. You might be thinking, if bacteria are the problem, I should just sterilize everything to protect my heart. That is the exact wrong approach. Take mouthwash, for example. Millions of people use harsh antiseptic mouthwash every morning thinking it's good hygiene. But your body actually relies on specific bacteria in your mouth to produce nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the molecule that keeps your arteries flexible and open. When you nuke your mouth with harsh chemicals, you kill the good guys along with the bad. The result? Your nitric oxide levels drop, your arteries stiffen, and your blood pressure rises. We are not looking for a scorched earth policy here. We are looking for balance. Now, because we are using food as medicine, I need to give you a critical safety warning. Do not ignore this. If you are currently taking blood thinners like warfarin or Coumadin, you cannot just start eating huge amounts of sauerkraut. Cabbage is high in vitamin K, which helps blood clot. Literally the opposite of what your medication is trying to do. It can interfere with your dosage. Secondly, if you are on MAOA antidepressants, you must strictly avoid fermented foods because of a compound called tyramine, which can trigger a dangerous spike in blood pressure. If you fall into these categories, talk to your doctor first. For everyone else, here is the reality. Heart disease often feels like this inevitable train wreck waiting for us as we age, but a leaky gut is not inevitable. It is fixable. You have the power to weld your biological fence back together And you don't need a prescription pad to do it. You just need your fork. So, here is your mission. I call it the 2-week kraut challenge. I don't want you to overhaul your entire life overnight. Just add 1 single tablespoon of raw, refrigerated sauerkraut to your dinner for the next 14 days. That is it. I want you to be the scientist of your own life. Pay attention to that post-meal crash. Do you feel that fog rolling in 30 minutes after lunch? If that is you, I want you to go down to the comments right now and simply type yes. Let's see how many of us are fighting this same battle, and let's track our progress together. Get your barrier sealed, protect your heart, and I will see you in the next video.